They told you to trust your eyes, that what you see is what's real. But what if that's the biggest lie you've ever believed? What if your entire life, your struggles, your fears, even your identity, has been shaped by something you didn't choose, can't control, and don't even question? The truth is uncomfortable. You're not observing reality. You're filtering it through a mind trained to edit, distort, and repeat the same illusion over and over again. Here's what nobody told you. Your thoughts aren't yours. Your beliefs were downloaded. Your memories are stories, not facts. And what you call you, it's a script written by voices that aren't even in the room anymore. The worst part? Most people will spend their entire lives defending an identity that isn't even real. They'll chase success, love, meaning, without ever realizing the game was rigged from the beginning. But once you see it, once you catch the illusion in the act, everything changes. You stop reacting. You stop playing small. You start choosing. You begin to shape reality instead of being shaped by it. And the shift? It's not years away. It's a moment. A crack in perception, a single insight that pulls you out of the dream. This video isn't here to inspire you, it's here to wake you up. Because consciousness creates reality, and you don't even realize it. 1. The reality filter. How your mind edits the world before you even see it. Most people walk through life assuming what they see is what's actually there. But the truth is, by the time something reaches your awareness, your mind has already chopped it up, filtered it, and glued it back together in a way that fits what it expects. That's not seeing reality. That's seeing what your perception allows. It's like wearing mental sunglasses that filter light based on your past, your beliefs, and your conditioning. You don't see the world. You see your version of it. Imagine two people watching the same sunset. One sees peace, the other feels loneliness. The sun didn't change, consciousness did. The way we interpret what's in front of us is shaped by years of mental habits. This is why someone can miss the obvious in a conversation or overlook a huge opportunity standing right in front of them. The mind hides what doesn't match its story. And here's the part no one talks about. The illusion isn't that the world is fake. It's that you think you're seeing it clearly. Inattentional blindness is a real thing. Try this. Count how many red objects you see in your room. Then close your eyes and try to recall how many blue ones there were. Odds are you barely noticed them, not because they weren't there, but because you weren't looking for them. Your mind was focused on one color, so it cut out the rest. This is how most people live, focusing on problems and missing the hidden paths all around them. So what happens when you start to question your own filters? When you stop assuming that what your perception shows you is the full picture? That's when things start to shift. You begin to wonder, not just what you're seeing, but why you're seeing it. And that's when you begin to realize maybe it's not your eyes lying to you, but your memory whispering the same old story. 2. You never had a memory, just a story you keep rewriting. People love to believe their memories are sacred truths, locked away like old home videos. But that's far from reality. Memory isn't a recording. It's a reconstruction. Every time you recall a moment, you're not retrieving a file, you're repainting the scene with today's brush. Your consciousness pulls pieces from emotion, suggestion, belief, and perception and stitches them together into something that feels real. But feelings lie. What you remember isn't what happened. It's what your mind wants to have happened or needs to believe to keep the illusion of self intact. Let's say you vividly recall being humiliated at school, and that memory has shaped your confidence for years. But when you speak to your classmates, they remember something completely different. That gut punch moment you carried, it might have never happened the way you think. Neuroscience backs this up. Your brain alters memories every time they're recalled. That's neuroplasticity at play. You literally reshape your past based on your current perception. So who are you, if even your own story can't be trusted? This has real-life impact. Think about arguments you've had, moments where you swore someone said something, and they swore they didn't. Both of you were convinced. That's not lying. That's two illusions clashing. Your memories are biased editors, twisting the footage to fit your identity. Want to test it? Start journaling your daily life. In a month, go back and read what you wrote. You'll be shocked by how differently you remembered things. What you call your past might be nothing more than a flexible narrative, constantly updated for emotional survival. If your memories shape your identity and those memories are unstable, what does that say about who you think you are? When consciousness is filtered through unreliable stories, perception of the self becomes slippery. You begin to sense that your reality is stitched together by nothing more than repetition and belief. And if the past is just a story you keep rewriting, then what else in your life is just a well-rehearsed illusion waiting to be unlearned? 3. The observer effect. You're not seeing reality, you're shaping it. Here's the strange truth. Reality doesn't just exist independently of you, waiting to be discovered. It responds to the one who looks. This isn't just spiritual fluff, it's science. The double-slit experiment in quantum physics proves that observation changes behavior at the subatomic level. Particles act differently when they're being watched. That means perception isn't passive, it's participatory. Consciousness plays a role in shaping reality itself. What you see is not separate from how you see. The observer is never neutral, it creates. Take this into everyday life. You wake up grumpy and assume your whole day is going to suck. Then, like magic, it does. The traffic feels worse, people seem ruder, opportunities vanish. But are they really different, or is your perception filtering out anything that doesn't match your state? Flip it. You walk into the same day with gratitude and intention, and suddenly things shift. The world hasn't changed. You have. Your consciousness tuned into a new frequency, and reality responded like a mirror. This is the power most people never realize they have. If your attention shapes what you experience, then redirecting that attention becomes your greatest tool. Try this. Instead of reacting to a stressful moment, pause and ask, what else is happening right now that I'm not noticing? You might spot a pattern, a breath, a chance to choose. That's not about being positive, it's about being awake. The observer effect isn't just physics, it's a lifestyle, and the deeper you live into it, the more responsive the illusion becomes. But here's the catch. Most people think they're observing the world when they're actually just reinforcing their beliefs. They don't look, they judge, label, assume. And so the same stories play out, again and again. But what happens when you strip away the labels? When you stop trying to interpret everything and simply witness, you begin to see how your own thoughts were shaping what you believed was out there. And if observation really shapes reality, then what are your thoughts doing when you're not paying attention? 4. Your thoughts were never yours, but they're creating your world. Most people walk around thinking they're the ones choosing their thoughts. But if you really pay attention, you'll notice something strange. Thoughts just appear. They rise out of nowhere, like pop-ups on a screen you didn't open. You don't choose them, yet you believe them instantly. That's the trap. Consciousness becomes entangled with thought, mistaking the noise for the self. And when you believe every thought, you build a perception of reality that reflects those beliefs, not the truth of what's actually there. It starts early. You were told who you are, what the world is, what to value, what to fear, and slowly your inner voice was shaped by those outer voices. Your thoughts about success, failure, love, money, they didn't come from nowhere. They were fed to you by parents, teachers, society. Over time, you internalize them so deeply that they now feel like your own voice. But they're not. They're echoes, fragments, scripts from a mental program you didn't write, but keep running on repeat. This becomes dangerous when those thoughts are left unexamined. If a man constantly thinks he's not good enough, life will reflect that script. He'll ignore compliments, sabotage chances, and interpret silence as rejection. Not because it's true, but because the mind demands consistency with its story. But here's the twist. Once you realize those thoughts aren't yours, they lose power. You don't have to argue with them. You just stop identifying. They're clouds. You're the sky. Let it be simple. Start watching your thoughts like you'd watch a bird land on a branch. It comes, it rests, it leaves. You don't need to follow it. In those moments of quiet observation, something shifts. Consciousness remembers it's not the narrator, it's the witness. And when the mind loses its grip, what it created begins to soften. The illusion bends. Reality becomes lighter. But this shift leads to something even more curious. What happens when the entire world starts to feel like a dream? 5. The dream is too convincing. Until you wake up. Everyone's had that kind of dream, the one that feels so vivid, so immersive, that it takes a few minutes after waking to realize it wasn't real. Now here's the twist. What if this waking life is built the same way? The sounds, the sights, the sensations all seem solid, yet they're filtered through the mind just like in a dream. You're walking through a projection created by your own consciousness, shaped by layers of memory, expectation, and belief. And just like a dream, most never question its structure while they're inside it. The idea that reality is a simulation or illusion isn't just philosophical. It's becoming increasingly accepted by modern thinkers. Elon Musk speaks of simulated realities, but ancient mystics have been saying the same for centuries. In the Vedic tradition, this dreamlike world is called Maya, a temporary illusion, convincing and necessary, but not the full truth. It serves a purpose, to wake you up, not to keep you asleep. And yet most are so lost in the storyline that they've forgotten they're the ones dreaming it. It helps to look at your own life like a film. Have you ever noticed how the same situations keep repeating? The same kind of relationships, the same setbacks, the same inner dialogue? That's the dream showing its pattern. You're not cursed. You're simply unaware that you're dreaming. Start by noticing the repetition, the timing, the little glitches that don't add up, the déjà vu, the strange coincidences, the synchronicities. These aren't random, they're signals. Breadcrumbs left by awareness itself. Once you see the cracks in the illusion, the dream begins to loosen. Not in a way that removes the beauty of life, but in a way that makes it lighter, more fluid, more free. You begin to play with perception instead of being ruled by it. The same way a lucid dreamer starts to fly once they realize it's a dream, a conscious person begins to shift reality with intention. Because deep down, belief has always been the author. And belief, that's a spell you've been casting without realizing. 6. You are the spellcaster. How belief shapes the illusion. From the moment you're born, belief begins to weave the fabric of your world. You're told what's true, what's possible, what's dangerous, and what's sacred. Over time, these beliefs become invisible rules that govern your reality. They're not facts, they're mental agreements. If you believe money is hard to earn, life will show you struggle. If you believe you're not worthy of love, you'll unconsciously block it. Consciousness doesn't just reflect these beliefs, it bends reality around them, making the illusion feel unshakably real. Take society's greatest structures, borders, laws, currencies, even time. None of them exist in nature. They exist because people believe in them. That belief turns thoughts into systems, and systems into unbreakable truths. But they're not truths, they're collective spells. A child doesn't see a country, they see land. A tree doesn't know about property lines. The moment belief enters, perception narrows, and the illusion takes form. You're not living inside objective reality, you're living inside the framework of shared imagination. The same thing happens on a personal level. Think about someone who's convinced they're unlucky. No matter how many chances they get, they'll sabotage themselves because it's not aligned with their belief. The spell says, "I lose," and so they must lose to maintain the illusion of consistency. But here's the power. You can rewrite the spell. Start by questioning one core belief. Is it truly yours? Who gave it to you? What has it created in your life? Awareness grows where questioning begins, and with it, the spell weakens. You don't need a magic wand. You are the wand. Your beliefs are casting reality into form with every thought, every word, every expectation. When someone shifts their core beliefs, their life reorganizes itself. Health improves, relationships deepen, money flows, clarity returns. Because reality doesn't respond to effort. It responds to alignment. And alignment begins when you stop repeating the old incantations and start remembering you're the one holding the script. Not the role, not the costume, the script. 7. The self is the dreamer, not the dream. Most people move through life believing they are the character in the story, defined by a name, a job, a history, a personality. But that character is just a mask. The real you isn't the story, it's the one watching the story unfold. Strip away the roles, the preferences, the memories, and what remains isn't emptiness. It's presence, pure awareness. Consciousness doesn't belong to the self belongs to consciousness. And when this clicks, the illusion of separation starts to unravel from the inside out. Imagine watching a movie so immersive you forget you're in a theater. That's what the ego does. It pulls you into the drama so completely that you forget you're the one observing it. Every thought that says, "I am this," or "I need that," reinforces the dream of being someone. But the dreamer is not the dream. The dreamer is not limited by the body or the mind or the stories told by memory. The dreamer is the field in which all experience appears, still, silent, unmoved by what passes through. This understanding isn't just philosophy, it's freedom. When someone realizes they are not their thoughts, their past, or their emotions, they stop taking the drama so personally. That doesn't mean they withdraw from life. It means they engage from a deeper place, a place that's no longer trying to fix the story, but simply aware of it. You still play your role, but now you know you're acting. The anger comes, the joy comes, the grief comes, but none of it sticks. It passes like weather moving through a clear sky. This is what sages, mystics, and awakened teachers have pointed to for centuries. You are not the content of consciousness. You are consciousness itself. You are not the voice in your head. You are the silence it speaks from. When this truth is seen, it changes the way reality is perceived. Not because the world suddenly becomes perfect, but because you no longer believe the illusion of being someone trapped inside it. You see clearly, the self was never the center. It was just a dream inside the dreamer.